Cleveland Browns promote Shedeur Sanders to backup QB for Week 6 NFL clash with Steelers. Cleveland Browns rookie QB Shedeur Sanders finally gets the chance to move up the team's depth chart for Cleveland's road game this Sunday against divisional rival the Pittsburgh Steelers. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski has chosen to elevate the fifth-round pick out of Colorado to the backup spot at quarterback, after Sanders had previously served a role as the side's emergency and third-string QB, which has seen him be inactive for every game so far this NFL season. Stefanski spoke about keeping the best interest of players in mind when deciding to give Sanders the nod to be QB2 over practice squad quarterback Bailey Zappe. "I'm always thinking about our players and what's best for our players," Stefanski said after practice on Friday as per NFL.com. "And I want to make sure when it comes to young football players, particularly at the quarterback position, that you are intentional about your decision-making, and that's really all it is. So excited for all of our guys." This opportunity for Sanders comes after veteran Joe Flacco, who had been Cleveland's starter for the first 4 games this year, was traded to the Cincinnati Bengals earlier this week. September 28, 2025, Detroit, Michigan, USA. Cleveland Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders, 12, looks on from his sidelines during the second half against the Detroit Lions at Ford Field. Mandatory credit: Lon Horwood Delamain Images. The former Buffalo star and son of Colorado head coach and NFL legend Deion Sanders will now back up third-round pick and fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel, who took over the Browns' starting job in last week's loss to the Vikings in London. After being selected by Cleveland with the 144th pick, Sanders sliding all the way down to the 5th round was one of the biggest storylines to come out of this year's NFL draft. But now, Shedeur is a step closer to finally taking his first snap in the NFL and potentially proving that he does indeed belong in this league. Get more top stories from the Big Lead by subscribing to TBL YouTube channel. Thursday Roundup, Bill Belichick drama, Flacco in the jungle, and more. NFL 2025 NFL Week 6 TV schedule, full list of games. NCAAF Heisman Trophy odds continue to play out after Week 6 of college football season. NBA LeBron James draws heat from ESPN analyst over viral second decision stunt. Sports media Netflix reportedly set to bid for UEFA Champions League rights with massive offer. The morning air over Berea, Ohio carried a crisp bite of autumn, the kind that signals not just falling leaves, but pivotal football moments. Inside the Cleveland Browns facility, the buzz was palpable. Head coach Kevin Stefanski had just delivered news that sent shockwaves through the locker room and echoed across the NFL landscape. Shedeur Sanders will serve as our backup quarterback this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. It wasn't just another roster move, it was a statement. The rise of a name, the weight of a legacy. For months, Shedeur Sanders had been a storyline waiting to explode. The son of NFL legend Deion "Prime-Time" Sanders arrived in Cleveland with swagger, promise, and skepticism shadowing every step. Drafted for his poise and precision at Colorado, many wondered whether his transition to the pros would be seamless, or if he'd drown under the relentless waves of NFL scrutiny. But this was different. This was Cleveland, a city defined by resilience. A city that understood comebacks, heartbreaks, and second chances. And in Week 6, Shedeur was about to get his. A week of tension and transition. It started on Monday morning. The Browns' quarterback room, once a stable hierarchy, had been shaken by change. Veteran Joe Flacco, the trusted arm, the Super Bowl champion, was gone, traded unexpectedly to the Bengals. Dillon Gabriel, the rookie sensation from Oklahoma, had been named the starter, a move that raised eyebrows around the league. That left one spot open behind him, and a fierce competition for it. Deshaun Watson, still recovering from his ongoing injuries, remained out of the picture. The team needed a backup who could step in and command the field if disaster struck. The options were slim: a couple of journeymen and Shedeur Sanders, who had quietly been absorbing the playbook, shadowing veterans, and waiting for his moment. Then came the whispers: Shedeur's turning heads in practice. Receivers started talking. Linebackers, too. Even the defensive coaches took notice. His throws weren't just accurate, they were confident. His timing crisp, his decision-making sharper by the day. When the Browns held a closed scrimmage midweek, Shedeur orchestrated a 2-minute drill that left even Stefanski raising his eyebrows. By Thursday, the buzz had turned into belief. By Friday, belief had turned into promotion. It's about opportunity. When Stefanski faced reporters after practice, he was calm but deliberate. the tone he reserved for announcements that carried meaning beyond the depth chart. "Shedeur's earned this," he said, his voice steady. "He's shown command, leadership, and improvement every single week. It's about opportunity, and he's ready for this one." Behind the scenes, Shedeur sat at his locker, headphones on, scrolling through his tablet, breaking down Steelers tape. When a reporter approached to ask about the promotion, he smiled briefly before answering. "I'm grateful," he said simply. "But I'm not here just to be a backup. I'm here to grow, to compete, and to be ready when my number's called." The humility in his tone contrasted the flashiness many expected from a Sanders. But those who had watched his journey closely knew, Shedeur wasn't trying to be Primetime 2.0. He was building something of his own. Steelers Week. Fire meets steel. There's something electric about Browns-Steelers Week. It's not just another matchup, it's war on grass, history colliding with hatred. For decades, Cleveland's pain had been Pittsburgh's pleasure. The Steelers had been the older brother, always one step ahead, always smirking from across the division line. And now, with the Browns' quarterback room reshuffled and the Steelers' defense smelling blood, the stage was set for chaos. At practice, Shedeur spent extra time with wide receivers Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore, fine-tuning hot routes and blitz reads. Quarterbacks coach Alex Van Pelt worked with him on pocket discipline, how to keep composure when TJ Watt came roaring off the edge like a freight train. "He's learning fast," Van Pelt told local media. "His attention to detail is special. We're not just grooming him for this week, we're grooming him for the future." Flashback, a journey forged in shadows. Shedeur's road to Cleveland wasn't paved in gold, it was carved from grit. At Jackson State, under his father's watchful eye, he dominated HBCU football, winning awards and rewriting records. But critics dismissed it, smaller competition. Then came Colorado, the bright lights, the cameras, the expectations. Shedeur delivered moments of brilliance and heartbreak, often shouldering the pressure of being both quarterback and symbol. And when draft day came, he slipped past the first and second rounds, until the Browns took him late, betting on potential and poise. "I remember sitting there," Shedeur would later recall, "hearing names called, wondering if people really saw what I could do. But I told myself, if Cleveland gives me a shot, I'll make them glad they did." Now, that promise was being tested.